Web positioning, Module 3, mobile SEO. Mobile phones play a fundamental role in the internet world. Thanks to technology developments, we not only access online content and on computer with an internet connection, but also on our mobile phones. The trend, which is continually increasing, continuously so, means that websites must adapt to these devices. Otherwise, companies will hardly manage to improve their position. This need to adapt is due to the significant difference between accessing content on a mobile phone and on a computer. These differences are access is through different screen formats, especially in terms of size, so a website must adapt to that size and manage the available space much more efficiently. Although most mobile devices work with 4G networks, speed is a key difference between mobile and computer. There's also some other differences, such as bandwidth, which can be more limited in mobile phones depending on the available coverage and the possibility of executing certain extensions of the browser from the mobile. The absence of both keyboard and mouse in mobile phones means that the website needs to be optimized. The use of the keyboard must be minimized, since typing on a smartphone keyboard is not as comfortable as typing on a computer. As for the mouse, interaction elements should be preferably sized to facilitate the action of touching on the screen. In addition to these three differences, two other key aspects for positioning must be considered. Firstly, we must highlight the fact that users can be located almost exactly through mobile devices. This allows us to adapt the information given by the research engine and make it more relevant for the search content, which means the results are better adapted to the needs of the user. Thanks to geolocation, when a user decides to look for a cinema, those which are closer will appear first. Secondly, we must take into account that mobile phones are generally used by a single person, unlike computers which can be used by several people. Single user means that the browsing history and searches describe the tastes and preferences of the user more accurately, which allows a better personalization of the results. This knowledge of the user is not limited to their devices, but to everything the search engine knows and what they do in the other search devices when the sessions are open. It is worth mentioning the update of Google algorithms called Hummingbird. It is much better oriented to a semantic search, since it takes into account the context of the search at all levels. The new algorithm stands out for its speed and accuracy in searches and allows the user to obtain much more accurate results according to what they are looking for. It is a suitable system for complex questions such as where to eat the best burgers in Barcelona, who is Hillary Clinton, what is the funniest film. These questions are not answered very well by a search engine, as Google and the rest of the search engines used to only search for keywords and synonyms. This new algorithm, in addition to the growing trend of using voice to search on smartphones, aims to establish a system that really understands what the user is looking for and gives better results, focused on the real needs. Geolocation also allows the device to locate us in a specific place, and the results can be given according to where we are. In this way, we can ask for secondhand shops. We will probably be shown a secondhand shop that's close to where we are. In short, it is a new system which can understand the questions more precisely, which means that the user can obtain better results focused on their location and their real needs. Given these considerations, it must also said that optimizing a website for mobile phones is an essential requirement. However, companies are advised to study and analyze the statistics of the web traffic. They must compare how the total traffic by device varies at certain periods of different years in order to see the evolution and determine if a website optimized for mobile devices is necessary. 3.1 is how to optimize for mobile. Well, there's three different ways to optimize for mobile SEO, websites with adaptive designs and mobile-specific websites, and apps. Here, each of these ways are described to further understand the main features. Websites with adaptive design, and the main feature of websites with adaptive design is that the user can access the same content from the smartphone as from the computer. To do this, the website uses a wide range of specific styles that allow adapting the design and layout of the website to the device, regardless of its format or screen size. The type of site is made up of the following: a single source of HTML code. This means that the content is the same regardless of the device, only the presentation changes. A single URL, a single content to track, which saves resources to search engines and avoids the problems of duplicate content. Different CSS styles, specifications depending on the type of device in which the website is placed. The main advantage of the first option includes, Google recommends this option due to the advantage of the single URL with the same content for the mobile version and the computer version, which greatly simplifies the process of indexing and positioning. The fact of having only one version of each page simplifies the workflows for creating and updating the content. However, this option has some disadvantages that should also be mentioned. The programming process is more complex, so its behavior must be tested on multiple devices to verify that it actually works. This option displays the same information and the same content on both mobile devices and computers. However, it does not take into account that users require different content and information depending on the device. The page may be too heavy for a mobile device. This is due to aspects such as broadband coverage and reception conditions, among others. Due to its simplicity and convenience, Google recommends this first option. However, the following two options may also be considered, since they may allow us to better respond to the expectations of the user and of the navigation of mobile devices. 3.1.2 is mobile-specific websites. The first thing to consider is the second option is the fact that when users access our website, they are looking for something in particular. Example, if our website is about travel, we should enable the customers to access their mobile devices to search for trips, select dates, companies, insurance, hotel, etc. In this case, it would be much more comfortable and easier for users to have a specific design for a mobile device. The same thing happens when online stores and ticket services since we should try to facilitate the user's search by adapting it to the devices they're using. A mobile-specific website can be designed in two different ways, using dynamic HTML, and the server identifies if the browser is coming from a computer, or a tablet or smartphone. Depending on that, it selectively loads in different HTML and CSS files for each device. In these websites, the syntax of the header, HTTP user agent vary, is highlighted, which identifies a different behavior depending on the type of browser. In conclusion, these site phones offer different content depending on the type of browser, but understand the same URL. Or an independent website. This second option refers to a specific website version for mobile devices. They usually have subdomains like mdomain or similar. The main features are the URL of the mobile version and the URL of the computer are different. They display two different content depending on the device, and they identify the user agent and redirect the user from one version to the other through server redirection or JavaScript. To avoid considering the two versions of the same content as duplicate content, Google recommends using annotations similar to those used to identify different international versions of content. So, for example, the HLC link with Google Mob computer REL's alternate will be added when links to the equivalent URL. In HTML for mobiles, REL equals canonical will be added and backlinks to the URL for the computers, which will be the indexed URL. This type of website is usually hosted in subdomains like mdomain.com or domain.mobi. Having dealt with the options that can be used to create mobile-specific websites, the following advantages can be highlighted. The information is well adapted to access on the mobile device, provides users with practical information, and leaves descriptive information to computers. A specific website for mobile browsers means that the navigation can be better adapted to that device, taking into account aspects such as screen format and image optimization. However, it also has some weaknesses. Redirections have to be used, which delays the user's access to the content. Two different applications, web and mobile, have to be created and updated, and annotations must be included to prevent problems with duplicate content. The mobile version must be tested on multiple devices and platforms to ensure its compatibility. Currently, there are endless smartphone models and designs with different screens and features, which means the mobile version has to work on all of them. And now we come to apps. Finally, the last option to adapt the content to the website is to use mobile devices or apps. As long as they are well designed and developed, apps allow the user to access content on their smartphone to have a good experience. At the beginning, apps could not be indexed, which make it impossible to position them on the web. However, Google solved this problem in 2013. They published a series of specific guidelines for programmers of these applications to take into account in order to obtain an optimal indexability. The user should know the applications to download it, so the website must be an intermediary. In this way, when the users access the website from their mobile phones or tablets, they must be informed that there is an application and they must be given the option to download it. The main advantage of these applications is that they generate a better user experience than if the user is consulted with the website directly or on their mobile phones. However, the disadvantage is the app shouldn't be available. Most smartphones and tablets work with Android and iOS, which means that applications must be programmed and developed specifically for each type of system. In addition, they must be distributed in the Android market and the App Store. To become global in outreach, the other systems must be considered and developed. We refer to things such as Windows Phone or the BlackBerry. As mentioned, it was not possible to index the content of the application until recently, so its positioning has to be measured based on the number of downloads. The content of these applications must be tested on different devices, mobile devices and tablets, and on different platforms to ensure total and adequate optimization. The problems and recommendations. After dealing with how to optimize a website for mobile devices, the problem that may be encountered will be discussed, as well as the recommendations and aspects that must be considered to perform the aforementioned tasks successfully. Mobile SEO problems. When a website is being optimized so that it can be accessed on a mobile device, some of the problems may arise, and they may negatively affect the positioning of our website. Google has identified these problems. Problems often arise when playing videos on mobile devices. This is because some of these devices cannot display a certain video format, such as Flash, which means that the text transcription of the video must be included for a better user experience. There may be incorrect redirections, which direct the user to undesired content. A lot of attention must be paid to this, since if any mistake of this type is made, it would damage the positioning of our content. And in terms of 404 errors, if a website in its computer version does not have this error, neither should the same website in its mobile version. Google does not recommend including interstitials to direct users to download pages of the mobile application of a specific website. It recommends banners with a link that directs the user to the corresponding page. The same version of the website for computers and mobile devices must have the same URL to access the same content for both devices. The download speed may differ depending on the device, so it is advisable to check the download speed on mobile phones with Page Speed Insights through the following link. Recommendations. The following points should be taken into account when adapting our website to mobile devices. Titles and descriptions should be shorter, and its computer version. The title cannot exceed 60 characters and descriptions 100. The content should be focused on the typical searches of the user. It is advisable to offer equivalent links to each of the versions of the website so the user can visit the alternative version if they want to. It is advisable to always include the mobile sitemap file. The navigation and the order of the menus must be adjusted to the mobile version in order to prioritize the most desired option by the user, such as contact, opening hours, and location, as well as the basic functions of the website. If it is a store, access to articles, or if it is flight search engine, to search options. In the forums, it is advisable to leave the most frequent options selected by default. It is important to identify the pages that do not work well on mobile devices. The download speed must be verified by Page Speed Insights. The weight of the images should be optimized so that they are not too heavy and decrease the speed of the browser. It is very important to take into account the content in which our website will be consulted on mobile phones so that it can be adapted to the user and their needs as best as possible. Both design and usability are two factors that must not be ignored, and the function to save favorites or send the links by email should be simple and visible to the user.